What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today what we're going to be doing is we'll be going into my email and taking a look at all the bikes that you guys have been sending in. That way we can not only admire them, but perhaps give you some upgrade ideas as well. But before we get started, let's cue some music. Let's crack open one of these. And maybe do one of these. Okay, so our first email comes to us from a Mr. Joseph Watson. He sent in his Ferzari Abajo Peak 29, and it has 140, 130 travel, SRAM NX 12 speed, SRAM level brakes, X-Fusion suspension front and rear. Man, this is a super clean bike you have. As far as upgrades are concerned, I think that you have a pretty stout bike to begin with. So this is the type of bike where I would just ride it, and as things break, I would look into replacing it with maybe a slightly higher tier of component. And I can't really say that your bike needs anything, and it looks really sharp in that color. I really like red. Great submission, Mr. Joseph. I appreciate you mailing that in. Right on. We'll get on to email number 2. All right, so our second email comes to us from a Mr. Sebastian, who prefers to be called Seb. Hey, my name is Seb, and I'm sending you a few pics of my hardtail bike. This hardtail is my 2021 Trek Roscoe 7. It has a 1x12 SRAM SX NX drivetrain, 120 RockShox Judy SL fork, Transx 130 dropper post. Love the bike, although I wish I had gone with a Commensal Meta HT instead. Well, Mr. Sebastian, I think that your bike looks really nice. I like the hits of copper that you've integrated into your build. I think that looks really sweet. And although I understand where you're coming from, the Commensal Meta HT is a really good frame. I think that you have a pretty solid bike, and you've been pretty intelligent with your upgrades. Getting the Ergon saddle, I love those. Can't put a price on a good saddle, as well as, again, the DD component parts with the copper. I think that just ties in really nicely with what you've built. So thank you for submitting your bike as well. It looks awesome, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, so our next email comes to us from, it looks like Willie Gaiman, or Will. I'm just gonna call you Will, how about that? You have an aluminum orange crush, a orange gang, very nice, man. Quick rundown on the specs. It's an orange crush frame, Fox 36 with grip 2, Hope Tech 35W wheels, brand X dropper. So yeah, this is a super solid bike. The Fox 36 is one of my favorite forks. Good move on that one. The brand X dropper, although it is inexpensive, is extremely reliable, and I like the action on it, so good choice there. Your bike is sharp. I guess if I was to give you any upgrade recommendations, it would probably be the tire setup. I've never even heard of the Hillbilly, and I've ridden the Vigilante. It's okay. I really like the Maxxis tires. You know, the DHF, DHR combo is fire, but there's a lot of other good tire brands out there as well. But other than that, I think your bike's super sharp, so congratulations on having something that nice. Okay, so this next submission that I got in is by Chiggin. Very similar to chicken, perhaps. He sent in his Kink Curb with new grips, pedals, and a golden chain. I also have pegs, but don't do too many grinds. So this is a BMX bike, but I got love for BMX bikes too. If you remember, I did a video on my Kink Drifter not too long ago. I really enjoyed that bike, and I spent most of my years on BMX bikes, so it's really cool that you would stop in and share your BMX bike with us, as well as some photos of you doing some jibs. I see you hucking off of a picnic bench, as well as bunny hopping over what looks like to be a little wood setup that you made. Right on, Mr. Chiggin. Really appreciate you stopping in as well. Hope you enjoy that BMX bike. Our next submission comes to us from Mr. Mark Pafford in Texas. In case you didn't know, Mark is the gentleman who won our 2,000 subscriber giveaway. Stay tuned to the channel, because I'm gonna do another giveaway soon. I'm still trying to figure it all out. Maybe we'll do one for 10K. But back to Mark here. He sent in 2 bikes today. Looks like it's a giant hardtail of some sort, probably a Talon. It's hard to tell, but it looks pretty sharp. It's got a nice black and yellow theme going on, as well as what seems to be one of those hyperco builds, which were made popular by Kev Central. That's really cool, man. I like how you were able to build that out and make something quality out of it. I have a lot of respect for somebody who will take a Walmart or big box store bicycle and just strip it down and rebuild it from the floor up. It takes a lot of passion and a lot of ingenuity to do that, because they don't give you any specs for anything. So congratulations on that, and I hope you get a lot of use out of both of them, man. You take care. Our next email comes to us from Mr. Phil. This is my 2018 Giant Contend that's been my faithful steed for 3 years now. I take it on every charity cycling event and for community cycling awareness group rides as part of Slow Roll Buffalo in Buffalo, New York. Wishing you the best in building your channel, and if you ever find yourself north, our wings are famous, and I'd be glad to escort y'all on a tour of the city by bike. First of all, Phil, thank you so much for offering that to us. If I'm ever up that way, I will most certainly reach out to you. I think it's awesome what you're doing with your road bike, that you're out there doing charity events and awareness events. That is really rad. It looks like a sharp bike, man. I used to actually part-time at a Giant dealer, so I've built quite a few Giant Contends. And to be honest, if I was to get a road bike, since I wouldn't want to spend way too much, I probably would look at the Contend line for myself. So good selection, my man, and thank you for emailing. Our next email comes to us from Mr. Noah. I'm assuming this is the same Noah that comes in the live chats a lot when I'm premiering videos. How you doing, man? It is nice to see you. Let's get into your bike. You have a 2019 Talon 2 with a RockShox Judy Gold, 120 mil travel, and you also wish that I have a great rest to my day. Thank you. Your bike looks really good, man. I've built quite a few Giant Talon 2s and I have upgraded a ton of them. I really like the theme you got going on with the gray and green. I think it looks pretty sharp. If I was to give you one recommendation for a future upgrade, I think you should look into the dropper post. I think that is the absolute game changer mod that anyone can make to their mountain bike, not just you, Mr. Noah. If you're looking for something to do in 2021 to take your bike to the next level, that's going to be the one. Thanks for emailing me, buddy. I'll see you soon. Our next submission comes from a Provar who also might go by the name of Boing, or maybe that's just your email name. I'm not sure. I have a 2019 GT Aggressor Pro, and in the 8 months I've had it, I've replaced the entire cockpit. It looks like you also changed the tires to Maxxis DHF and DHR, and I just endorsed those tires earlier in the video. Great choice on the tires. The tires transformed the look of the bike. On the screen, I will flip between the two pictures real quick, and you can see how much of the personality of the bicycle has changed just from that modification alone. With the added cockpit and the little pop of orange from your pedals, I think you're doing an awesome job. Thank you for removing the kickstand. I'm not a fan of those. If I was to give you any advice on what you should look for next, it would be a drivetrain upgrade perhaps, or maybe the dropper post. Either of those would be a real game changer for your bike. Thank you for submitting this. I hope you have a wonderful day and you enjoy that GT. So it looks like Mr. Jake Bikes submitted 2 photos to me of his 9er hardtail, which looks to be a carbon hardtail, which is super sick. I would love to get my hands on a carbon hardtail in the future, and it looks like you get to experience some really rad terrain out there, man. Not only am I seeing big boulders and rocks, but I'm seeing nice fluffy snow. So man, you enjoy those adventures and enjoy that 9er. Thanks so much for emailing me. Another submission here from a Mr. Brant Bartrand. He sent in his 2017 Marin Mount Vision 6. And this thing looks wicked. I'm assuming it's an enduro bike, but I'm not 100% certain because I wasn't really paying attention to Marin bikes as early as 2017. But I can tell just by looking at it that you have a DVO factory fork with that bright green colorway. So that's a serious piece of equipment. And as I'm scrolling in, it looks like you may have made your cranks raw, which I'm assuming they were originally black but had experienced so much wear that you decided to just make them raw, which suggests to me that this bike gets a lot of usage and a lot of love, which I love to see. Other than that, I'm glad to see you have a dropper post as well as the fat bars. Those are awesome bars. Continue to take care of it as you have, because to be honest with you, it does not look like a 2017. It looks pretty much new, and I can tell you love it. So, yeah, man, thank you for submitting that. I hope you have a good one. And our last submission comes from, I hope I pronounce this right, Grida Productions, is that right? You are from Sweden, so that's really awesome that we're getting people from across the pond. You have a Codex Solaris Max, which is a chromoly hardtail if I'm not mistaken. Yes, this is right up my alley. It looks like you have SLX on it if I'm not mistaken, which is a great drivetrain. I'm a big SLX fan. I think that SLX is probably the best entry to mid-level drivetrain that money can purchase. And this last picture you shared of the bike with the Schwalbe tan walls in the snow is just amazing. The only thing I would say is you also need to get yourself a dropper post. I mean, that really brings the ride alive for me. With the saddle up high, you can get an adequate pedal stroke to where your legs don't get tired on long distance riding. but you can also slam the seat, so when you're descending or jumping or doing anything technical, you won't have to worry about getting bucked over the bars. So it's a must-have piece of equipment. But other than that, man, your Codex Solaris looks amazing. That is gonna wrap it up, everybody. So that's the end of the submissions. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. You already know what I'm about to say. The ride is a cure. I will see you guys next time.